Welcome to the Current Update Special New South Wales election coverage. I'm Political Editor Andrew Riddle. With me here is Journalism Professor Stephen Tanner. Stephen, why is Labor in so much trouble at this election?
Andrew, I think it can be summed up in 3 or 4 words, and really that is that they're tired, they're stale, they're out of touch. I think that's the critical issue. And also too, I think that they've reached the point where people quite honestly feel that it's time for a change. And they're not the first government that have found themselves in that position. If you cast your mind back to 1972, that was the slogan that the Whitlam government, or the Whitlam Labor Party, used to win control federally. Other parties have done so at a state level as well. People do get sick of government, and this government doesn't have a particularly good record, particularly over the last few years, so people are looking for a reason to say enough's enough.
And do you think the government itself has that sort of psychological effect of having been in for a long time? We've seen so many cabinet changes, so many scandals. Do you think they see themselves as being out as well?
I think they've reached the point where they recognise that the electorate has had enough of them. Now, those scandals do hurt. I mean, Australian people tend to be very forgiving and look for reasons why they can actually support their favoured political party. But, enough is enough. And this particular government has shown that, it doesn't learn from its own mistakes. You could excuse it possibly if there were 1 or 2 incidents, but here we've had 6, 7, 8 incidents involving senior members of the party. And it's almost as if they're thumbing their nose at the electorate and saying, we don't care about you, this is all about us.
And so do you think this has been a bad government? They've had 16 years. What sort of legacy do you think they're going to have?
Look, I don't necessarily think it's been a bad government, particularly in its early days. I think you can look at Bob Carr's administration and say that there were some really good things that they've done. But when you start looking at his successes, you have to question, what has the government done? Look at infrastructure, look at hospitals, look at health, look at schools. Hasn't been a great deal of movement in those areas. Look at roads, what's happened? People are still crying out for major roadworks to happen. Look at railways, it's not happening. No, look, I think you'll find that the good has been counterbalanced by the bad, particularly in the last period.
And what about the O'Farrell government? Do you think they're going to be able to get some progress on those issues?
I would hope so. They will certainly be given a honeymoon period where they can experiment. Change is good. Change brings in new ideas, fresh faces, etc. That's what New South Wales needs. That's what people are asking for.
Okay, that was Professor Stephen Tanner on the legacy of the Labor government, and change is good. Thanks for joining us.